My male, 37, wife, female, 35, is having an affair with her personal trainer and using our joint credit card to book hotel rooms throwaway account because my wife knows my main. Longtime lurker, first-time poster. So some background. I've been married to Becky for 8 years, together almost 12 total since we met in college. I work as a software developer, and I've been putting in crazy hours lately, trying to lock down this promotion that would finally give us the financial stability we've been wanting. We've been talking about starting a family for like the past year, and I wanted to make sure we were set up right. I'm the one who handles all our finances. My parents went through a bad bankruptcy when I was 14, so I've always been super careful with money. Like borderline obsessive sometimes, lol. Becky teases me about it all the time, or at least she used to before all this. Anyway, about 10 months ago, Becky started getting really into fitness. She gained some weight during lockdown and decided to join this fancy gym across town. The membership was really expensive, but I figured if it makes her happy, it's worth it. I was actually proud of her for committing to something because she's always been the type to start things and then abandon them after a few weeks. About 7 months ago, she started working with this personal trainer, Trent, male, 31. And I'll admit, I felt this weird. I don't know. Discomfort, but I kept telling myself I was just being jealous for no reason. I completely trusted Becky. We've been together since college, for God's sake, and I'm not normally the jealous type, at least I don't think I am. Looking back, I feel so stupid. There were like a million red flags I just ignored. She got super protective of her phone, would literally take it to the bathroom with her. Started wearing these really revealing workout clothes, which whatever, but she never dressed like that before. She was spending like an hour getting ready before training sessions. Who needs full makeup to go sweat at the gym? But my dumbass just thought she was feeling more confident as she loses weight. I literally congratulated her on her progress and supported her through this whole thing while she was cheating on me. Sorry, getting ahead of myself. So last week, I was going through our credit card statements for tax stuff. I'm one of those people who starts in January because I'm paranoid about missing something. And I noticed these charges from local hotels on our joint card. This is the card we specifically use for big expenses, vacations, emergencies, that kind of thing. Not everyday stuff. I casually asked Becky about them, and she said they were just wellness retreats and team-building exercises for work. She works in marketing, and they do stuff like that sometimes, so I was like, okay, I guess. But something just felt off about the way she answered, like she had the answer ready too quickly. I don't know, maybe I'm just second-guessing everything now. But then I noticed something. Every single hotel charge lined up exactly with days she had extended training sessions with Trent. Like every single one. I started digging. And yeah, I know people are going to say, if you have to investigate your spouse, the relationship is already over, or whatever. But I just needed to know the truth. I called one of the hotels pretending I needed a receipt for a recent stay. The guy confirmed the booking was under Becky's name, but mentioned Mr. and Mrs. had checked in. We don't have the same last name. She kept hers for professional reasons, so it wasn't us. Then I remembered our iPad at home is still logged into her email account. She knows this. We've never been secretive about devices before. At least I thought we hadn't. I found email receipts from multiple hotels showing reservations for both Becky and Trent. But wait. It gets worse. The iPad also shows notifications from her messages. I found conversations between her and someone saved as T. Subtle, right? Literally dozens of explicit messages talking about their hotel meetups. There were messages specifically mentioning using the card Matt never checks to book rooms. They were literally laughing about how I wouldn't notice. I just sat there staring at the screen. I got in my car and just drove around for an hour trying to process everything. 3 months. They've been doing this for 3 fucking months, according to the messages. Probably longer that I just don't have evidence for yet. And here's me working overtime every day like an idiot to provide for our future while she's screwing her trainer on my dime. The worst part, I've been secretly planning this surprise anniversary trip to Hawaii for us. I've even been taking surfing lessons. I am terrified of deep water, so I could surprise her with that too. Like literally having panic attacks before each lesson, but pushing through it because I thought it would make her happy. What a joke. I feel doubly betrayed, honestly. The affair is one thing, but using our money, our joint finances to fund her little hotel romps with Trainer Boy. That hits different. So instead of confronting her immediately, I did something else. And tell me if I'm the asshole here, but I don't really think I am. I contacted our credit card company and reported all those hotel charges as fraudulent. I sent them screenshots of the texts where she specifically mentions using my card without permission for unauthorized purposes. The customer service rep was super understanding once I explained the situation, and honestly seemed kind of impressed with my creative approach, lol. I also talked to my brother Joe, who urged me to speak with a lawyer before I confront Becky. He's probably right. I'm just gathering evidence right now, I guess, waiting for the fraud investigation results. I haven't confronted her yet. She has no idea, I know. She's still going to her training sessions and coming home like everything's normal. Yesterday, she told me about how sore she was from her intense workout, and I just had to go to the bathroom to keep from losing it. I'm planning to meet with a lawyer next week, my friend's brother-in-law, to figure out my options. In the meantime, I'm just documenting everything and waiting for the credit card company to complete their investigation. I honestly don't know if our marriage can be salvaged at this point, or if I even want to salvage it. Edit. Holy crap, this blew up. Thank you for all the supportive comments. Edit 2. Some people are asking if I've considered counseling. Honestly, I don't know if I could ever trust her again after seeing those messages. They were literally laughing about how oblivious I was. How do you come back from that? Edit 3. To clarify about the credit card, yes, her name is on the account too. But we had an explicit agreement that the card was only for joint expenses that we both approved. Using it to fund her affair is definitely not what we agreed to. Now for the first update. So a lot has happened since my last post, and I've been going back and forth about whether I should even update you guys. But honestly, talking about this stuff here has been weirdly helpful. First off, thank you to everyone who told me to lawyer up as soon as possible. You were right. Also to the people who said I shouldn't confront her until I had all my ducks in a row. That was solid advice too. So the credit card company finished their investigation way faster than I expected. They agreed that the hotel charges, almost $4,200 across 6 different hotels, 6, were unauthorized since we had a clear agreement that our joint card was only for mutually approved expenses. They're reversing all the charges. Meanwhile, Becky had no idea I knew anything or that I reported the charges. She was just going about her life like normal, still going to her training sessions and coming home talking about how great her workouts were. It was honestly surreal watching her lie to my face day after day. I met with a lawyer last week, Oscar's brother-in-law, Jeff. He was super helpful and basically told me to document everything and prepare for divorce. He said the credit card stuff and the texts I found were pretty solid evidence of, I don't know what the legal term is, but basically being a shitty spouse who wastes marital assets on an affair. I started moving some important stuff to my brother Joe's place. Nothing obvious that she'd notice right away, just documents, some family photos, and my grandma's record collection, which Becky always complained took up too much space anyway. Joe's been amazing through all this. He wanted me to just change the locks and throw all her stuff on the lawn lol, but I'm not trying to go viral for a public meltdown. The weird thing is, I still catch myself looking at old photos of us sometimes and wondering if I missed something. Like, did I not pay enough attention? Was I too focused on work? I mean, I know that doesn't justify what she did, but sometimes I wonder if I contributed to us growing apart. But then I remember the texts where they were literally laughing about me, and I snap out of it pretty quick. For the past couple weeks, Becky's been acting almost sweet, bringing home my favorite takeout, suggesting weekend plans, even trying to initiate sex a few times, which I've been avoiding with excuses about work stress. At first, I thought maybe she was feeling guilty or reconsidering the affair, but nope. Found out she was still seeing him, just keeping up appearances at home, I guess. Then everything exploded on Tuesday. I was in the middle of this really important meeting with my team when my phone started blowing up with calls from Becky. Like 7 calls in 5 minutes. I ignored them all. My boss already thinks I'm distracted lately, didn't need to make it worse. But I felt like I was going to throw up the whole time, just watching my phone light up over and over. When she got home that night, holy shit. She slammed the front door open and immediately started screaming about fraud charges and why I was reporting our credit card as stolen. I calmly asked which charges she was talking about. She yelled about the hotels, saying they were calling her about fraud charges, and now she had to pay them directly. I asked her why hotels would be calling her about charges I supposedly made. You should have seen her face. She stuttered for a second, and then came up with this ridiculous lie about how they were surprise reservations she was planning for us, for our anniversary, in random hotels 15 minutes from our house. Sure, Jan. I didn't say anything, just went to the desk and pulled out the folder where I'd printed all the text messages between her and T, handed them to her without a word. Her face went from angry to completely blank. Then she started crying, like really crying. Then came the excuses. First it was, those messages aren't what they look like. Lol, what else could "can't wait to feel you inside me at the Marriott tomorrow" possibly mean? Then it was my fault for being emotionally unavailable and always working. Then it didn't mean anything, it was just physical. I just sat there and let her go through the whole cheater's playbook. Deny, blame, minimize, beg. The whole time our neighbor's stupid dog was barking nonstop outside, which was so absurd it almost made me laugh in the middle of everything. The worst part was when she said, "I still love you, Matt. Trent was just there when you weren't." Like, are you kidding me? I was not there because I was working 60-hour weeks trying to get us financially stable so we could start the family she wanted. After like 3 hours of this, I was just done, completely drained. I told her I'd sleep in the spare room and think about things, but honestly, I was just too tired to keep arguing and didn't want to drive to Joe's that late. She immediately started promising she'd end things with Trent, switch gyms, go to counseling, whatever I wanted. Classic panic mode. The next day, I got this weird call from some guy named Jeff, not lawyer Jeff, different Jeff, who said he was the manager at Becky's gym. Apparently, one of the hotels had contacted them as part of the fraud investigation and mentioned their employee Trent was involved. At first, I thought he was calling to convince me to drop the fraud claim to protect Trent's job or something. But he was actually investigating Trent because apparently dating clients is against their policy and grounds for firing. I didn't really know what to say, so I just confirmed that yes, my wife was his client, and yes, they had been meeting at hotels. The guy thanked me and said they take these violations very seriously. I honestly didn't think much of it at the time. For the past week, Becky's been on this crazy Save the Marriage campaign, cooking all my favorite meals, suggesting counselors, being super attentive, the works. I gotta admit, there's a tiny part of me that appreciates the effort. But then I remember the texts about using the card Matt never checks, and I forward her latest tearful apology email right to my lawyer. Yesterday, she asked if she could meet Trent one last time to properly end things and get closure. I know most of you are probably screaming at your screens right now about how stupid it would be to agree to this, but I don't know. Some naive part of me wanted to believe she was sincere about fixing things. So I said, fine, whatever. She left super early this morning for this final conversation. I checked our location sharing app. We set it up years ago when she had that stalker situation at her old job and saw she was actually at the gym. I was so exhausted from this whole nightmare that I just fell back asleep. Little did I know things were about to get much crazier. Edit. A lot of you are asking if I'm seriously considering taking her back. Honestly, I don't know. Part of me thinks the trust is completely shattered and can never be rebuilt. But we've been together since college. That's hard to just throw away. I'm trying to think clearly and not make permanent decisions based on temporary emotions. To everyone asking about my grandmother's record collection, it's mostly jazz from the 50s and 60s. Nothing super valuable money-wise, but it means a lot to me. My grandma used to play those records every Sunday when I visited her as a kid. Several people pointed out that closure meetings are just excuses for one last hookup. Yeah, I know, I was stupid to agree to it. In my defense, I was emotionally exhausted and just wanted the drama to pause for a few hours. Now for the second update. So, a lot has happened since my last update. Not even sure where to start, honestly. First off, thank you all for your support and advice on my last post. Anyway, I woke up around 11:30 a.m. yesterday, which never happens. I've been up at 5:45 a.m. every day since college. That's how emotionally drained this whole thing has left me. My phone was literally buzzing nonstop. When I finally checked, I had 36 missed calls and like a million text messages. Most were from Becky, but there were also several from numbers I didn't recognize. I was super confused because I hadn't done anything new since our big confrontation about the affair. Like, I've just been laying low and talking to my lawyer. I started scrolling through the messages trying to figure out what the hell was going on. From what I could piece together, Becky had gone to meet Trent at the gym that morning for their closure talk. Ugh. But when she got there, he was in the middle of being fired. Apparently, after I reported the credit card fraud, the hotels contacted the gym as part of their investigation, something about verifying Trent's identity or whatever. This triggered the gym to do their own investigation, and they discovered Trent had a whole pattern of pursuing romantic relationships with wealthy female clients and often using their financial resources. I totally misunderstood the situation at first. I thought Becky was freaking out because Trent had broken up with her or something. But nope. She was furious at me because she thought I deliberately tried to get Trent fired by reporting the credit card fraud, which wasn't even my intention. I just wanted our money back. But honestly, not sad about the outcome. While I was still trying to process all this information, I got a call from someone named Rodney, male, 52, who introduced himself as the owner of the gym. He actually apologized to me for the situation and thanked me for indirectly exposing Trent's behavior. Apparently, Trent had been violating company policy with multiple clients, not just Becky. Rodney said they'd received complaints before, but had kind of dismissed them because Trent brought in so much revenue, which is pretty shitty of them, but whatever. I was still on the phone with Rodney when I heard the front door slam open. Becky burst into the house. Her makeup was smeared everywhere. Her hair was a mess, and she looked, destroyed. Despite everything she'd done, I felt this weird pang of sympathy seeing her like that, which confused the hell out of me given how she'd betrayed me. But emotions are weird, I guess. What followed was basically the most explosive argument we've ever had in 12 years together. Becky came in screaming about how I deliberately destroyed lives and went behind her back to ruin everything. I tried to stay calm and asked her to explain what exactly happened. She started yelling about how I must have contacted the gym specifically to get Trent fired out of jealousy. I explained that I never contacted the gym. The fraud investigation did that. She refused to believe me and kept insisting I orchestrated the whole thing to punish her. I asked why she seemed more concerned about Trent's job than our marriage, which honestly hurt to even have to ask. That's when she revealed that Trent had called her collateral damage and basically blamed her for everything when confronted by gym management. I showed her the email from the credit card company explaining their investigation protocol, which clearly stated they would contact the merchants, hotels, as part of standard procedure. You could literally see the anger shift on her face as she realized I was telling the truth. She collapsed onto our couch and admitted that when the gym management started questioning Trent, he immediately threw her under the bus. Apparently, he told them she had pursued him aggressively and he made a mistake by giving in. He basically abandoned her the second things got difficult. I asked her if she wanted to save our marriage, pointing out that she seemed more upset about Trent losing his job than our relationship falling apart. She hesitated before answering, actually hesitated, which honestly told me everything I needed to know. I calmly told her I'd already packed my essential items and would be staying with Joe for a while. That's when her whole demeanor changed. She started begging me not to leave, saying we could fix this, that she made a terrible mistake, blah, blah, blah. I didn't say anything. I just handed her the divorce papers I'd already prepared with my lawyer. The look on her face, I can't even describe it. But I couldn't stay there anymore. I grabbed my bag, which I'd packed days ago, to be honest, and left for Joe's place while she was still crying on the couch. Since then, Becky has been calling and texting nonstop, cycling between rage, "You ruined my life," bargaining, "Please just give me one more chance," and desperate, "Please, I'll do anything, please don't leave me." I've mostly been ignoring them because what is there even to say at this point? Oh, and Becky's friend Nina, female, 34, reached out to me yesterday. She told me Trent apparently had a reputation at the gym for targeting women in vulnerable marriages and would often suggest their husbands must be cheating given how little time they spent at home. I'm not gonna lie, that hit home a bit. I know my work obsession created distance between us, but that still doesn't justify what Becky did. Nothing would. Things got even crazier when I received a threatening text from Trent himself, basically blaming me for ruining his career and promising some kind of payback. I immediately forwarded it to the gym management, who told me they'd received similar threats and had already banned him from the premises. They also mentioned they were considering legal action if he continued. Then I got an email from the credit card company officially ruling all the charges fraudulent. They said the hotels had provided security footage confirming Becky and Trent's stays as part of the investigation. I forwarded this to my lawyer immediately to strengthen the divorce case. That night, Becky called me sobbing, saying Trent was leaving town and blaming her entirely for everything. I mostly just listened as she admitted that Trent had pursued her, not the other way around. She told me he'd apparently done this with at least 3 other married clients before her. I finally asked the question that had been bothering me. Why did you charge the rooms to our credit card instead of letting him pay? Her answer was honestly disturbing. She said Trent had convinced her that I owed her these experiences because of my emotional neglect, that because I was working so much and not giving her attention, I should essentially finance her affair. I pointed out how twisted that logic was, that it basically justified theft and fraud in her mind. She broke down completely then, acknowledging how manipulated she'd been and how she'd ruined everything. While we were still on the phone, I got a call from Jeff, the gym manager, informing me Trent had been blacklisted across their entire gym chain. He mentioned several other clients had come forward with similar experiences after Trent was fired. I felt this weird mix of feelings knowing his behavior had been exposed, even though that wasn't my intention at all. After I hung up, Becky texted asking to meet in person before the divorce proceedings continued. I agreed, but specified it would be in a public place with my brother nearby, not taking any chances at this point. We met at a coffee shop downtown yesterday. She looked really upset and sorry. Part of me felt good about exposing the affair and Trent's pattern, but honestly, I felt no joy seeing her so upset. Despite everything, we were together for 12 years. You don't just turn off caring about someone even when they betray you. At least I can't. The divorce is proceeding, and she's not contesting anything, which is something I guess. I'm still sorting through all these contradictory emotions, still caring about her well-being while being completely unable to trust her ever again. The promotion I was working so hard for, I got it, but it feels hollow now. All that overtime, all those extra hours. For what? For a future that doesn't exist anymore. Edit. So many people are asking if I'm considering taking Becky back. The answer is no. The trust is completely broken. The fact that she hesitated when I asked if she wanted to save our marriage told me everything I needed to know. And learning she let Trent convince her I owed her an affair because I was working too much. That's a level of betrayal I can't come back from. Edit 2. To the people asking about legal action against Trent, my lawyer advised against it. The threatening text alone isn't enough for a restraining order, and pursuing him legally would just drag this out longer. I just want this chapter of my life closed.